Hey everyone, welcome back to another recap podcast from SNXweave, where we give quick weekly recaps of news and important updates from the previous week from the Spartan Council and core contributors, as well as discuss what the Grants Council and ambassadors are up to, so let's get started. First and foremost, let's talk election results. Your Spartan Council members for the upcoming epic will be Fief, Calavera, Daniel, JVK, Kane, Kset, Mark, and Synthaman. Serving the community on the Treasury Council this epic will be Artsy Choke, Elliptic Curve, Jordan, and Spartan Glory. Our upcoming Grants Council members will be Alexander, Big Penny, CT, Cyberduck, and Mike. And lastly, your ambassadors for the coming epic will be Master Mojo, Matt, and Millie. Thank you to all who ran, voted, and participated in governance this epic, and congratulations to our newly elected council members. Now on to our regular news updates. SIP 198, to update the Atomic Exchange functionality, is currently in audit and is likely to be done by the end of the week. This SIP proposes a couple of changes to the existing exchange function. First, it allows trading at the pure Chainlink price for certain synths. And second, it removes the restriction requiring the source or destination currency to be SUSD. Kayla brought up that Fief proposed SIP 222 to update the exchange fee system, so that will probably need to be incorporated into the implementation of SIP 198. Fief said he spoke with JJ and Noah, and the plan is to do them in the same release, which may cause a slight delay for SIP 198. The council determined that despite the delay, it makes sense for them to be released together because it's important for both. SIP 222 was actually presented on Tuesday by Fief, who explained that the SIP basically proposes a better way to charge fees for spot synths. Currently, the fee for an exchange is a function of the destination synth's associated fee. Instead, this SIP proposes that the fee be set to the sum of fees for both synths. Fief explained that a common issue occurs for exotic pairs, asset pairings other than those paired with USD, where the latency issue compounds since you have to rely on a different feed for each of the paired assets. With SIP 222, instead of having fees set based on the destination synth, the fees would be additive. This SIP was voted on and approved with 7 votes in favor. A few other SIPs were also presented last week, so let's review them quickly. SIP 219 and SIP 223 propose adding APE and DYDX perpetual markets on Optimism. Both of these SIPs were presented by Millie, who explained that these two were selected specifically because there is no Chainlink feed currently available on Optimism for them. APE has shown a lot of trading volume recently and is a very retail-facing coin, but it's currently not offered for trading on any other DeFi exchange. DeFi is also not offered on any other exchange, and may be useful for traders earning DYDX rewards. Millie said these assets are in very high demand, so there's an opportunity for synthetics to catch a lot of trading volume. Both of these SIPs were voted on and approved with 7 votes in favor. Then we heard the presentation for SIP 221, which proposes lowering the collateralization ratio for SNX staking from 500% to 400% on Optimism. During his presentation, Rafi Gang explained that since the debt pools have been merged, every staker is now exposed to the same debt pool composition. Logically, the C ratio should therefore be the same on both networks. Normally a C ratio change would just require an SCCP, but since this was such a big change, Fief suggested it be presented as a SIP. This SIP was also voted on and approved with 7 votes in favor. During their meeting, the Spartan Council also discussed synth teleporters. Kane said there's a pretty hard dependency for debt migration for some form of fungibility across networks. He also brought up the Ronin network hack, stating that unless we have a trustless bridge, a better plan is probably to introduce fungibility via a burn mint bridge. This will be the first phase of ensuring that synths can move, but unfortunately, it will not be a fast teleporter solution. Once the debt migration happens though, the team expects most of the flows of synths to be from L1 to L2. Not to worry though, wrappers will still be available on L1 so users can get SUSD. As a result of this, Teleporters will likely be shifted to be part of the V3 scope. The council said this will allow for a much more thoughtful approach in how we find a solution to this problem. The preference is still towards Chainlink's CCIP, but since it's not likely to be ready soon, the plan is to ask them to build a custom bridge like the one built for depth pool synthesis. In the meantime, users will still be able to use the Optimism bridge to move synths across networks. As for the depth migration SIP, Kane thinks there needs to be a separate SIP that addresses the deprecation of L1 staking. This process will be very complex and has a lot of implications, so he thinks it needs to be written up as soon as possible and presented before depth migration to make sure everyone understands what's happening before migrating. Lastly, for the gold and silver synths, the council is still in talks with Chainlink about the circuit breakers, but they plan to add these feeds to Kovan this week for testing. In Grants Council updates, the team is chugging along nicely with their various ongoing projects. For the hero stats page, the team discussed some of the coordination challenges they've been experiencing. Since the Grants Council is heavily reliant on the core contributors for input and data sources, it has caused some setbacks. The Grants Council plans to set a course of action with the Treasury Council in the new epic to ensure that they have the development resources necessary to achieve all of their objectives in the next 3 months. Then there's the NFT project, which has shown a lot of progress recently. The designers have been working on the accessories for each of the characters. The Grants Council also received another lore submission and hope to have a more definitive direction for the final version this week. Once they decide on the specific direction, the writer will go even deeper into that particular storyline. Lastly, they discussed the translations initiative. The team has been discussing whether or not it would make more sense for this project to go through the core contributors and marketing team rather than through community grants. Since the translations will require ongoing updates and represent a crucial community-centered initiative that requires a certain level of trust, it might be better just to work with one CC lead in each country for this project. More to come here. And that's it for today's updates. Be sure to check out our weekly recap blog post, share this podcast link, and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear more about from SNXweave. Thanks for listening.